This also has that cycling the white.
Yep, it's recirculating the white. So I'll give you a brief overview of the printer. It'll pop up, it'll say that it's low, you just pour the ink right in.
Okay.
Up here you can see, here's where we have the pumps that pump the ink up from the main tanks. And you can see we have black, cyan, magenta, yellow. This one is for a flush, and we have 2 for whites. And then we have 2 others for each of the whites. One's a main tank recirculation, and the other is a sub-tank recirculation for the white.
Okay.
No, it's only for the white ink.
Only for the white ink.
Because Mamaki had the same problem, but their resolution was to take it out and
Right.
rock it back and forth and then put
Right.
it back in, which is
They also
Right.
had.
And into your printouts. And we can turn the inks off and on by turning these levers. All the way up would be off, and then all the way down is on. So we have 2 UV lights, and what we can do is we can turn one of these lights off just by pressing the switch down. And when we print with this, we'll see that we get a little glossier look to it. And I'll just go ahead
And we're still at the 4 plus
Yep.
and
and
unit.
unidirectional.
Okay.
So it has a little cover switch. I'm just going to press this down with my fingers so you guys can see the process.
So the same settings. The only thing that you changed was the.
Yep,
the-
everything from that last print will do the same except for that right UV lamp will be off.
so you only have the option to turn one of the UV lights off.
Yep.
You would never need to turn off both anyway. It wouldn't work.
You wouldn't get any.
Right.
There you go. Just a glossier finish.
Basically here, this is just our negative and positive pressure pumps. We have 2 negative pressure pumps. One's for white, one's for colors. The white, because it's a little bit heavier, needs a little bit more negative pressure to keep that ink from just falling out of it. And then you just have a positive pressure, which we use for our auto cleanings, just pushes air in to make the ink come out of the printouts. Applies, you know, for your UV lights and everything else here. Main board, UV light connection. You can see these connectors are going to our table. This table is a separate unit that comes separately. So we put it on, we bolt it from underneath, and then we make all our connections here. You have this one here, which is printer control. We call it PCS. This is controlling all the settings of the printer. You can see we're at 4 pass for our CMYK and our white, printing in unidirectional. You can see we can control our UV levels and our media height here.
Now the media height is done in the beginning of a print run automatically, right?
Well,
Using laser?
you have 3 different ways of doing it. You can have it auto height, where it's going to bring the table all the way up, and it's going to go in like the Mamaki, and it'll drop down
Until it.
until it finds it. I usually find it's easier or quicker, I would say, to measure your part and just enter in the part height, leave it on semi-auto. I put in 0.42, hit apply, and it just brings it up.
The semi-auto is going to adjust it if it's not right, though.
It will not.
It will not.
Yep. So if you're far too low, if your part's an inch and you put in a 1/4 inch, or I should reverse that, if you put in an inch and your part's a 1/4 inch, you're 3/4 of an inch away from it. It's not going to know, and it's going to try to print on that part. If you
put it the other way,
if it's the other way, it's going to trip your height sensor,
And
and it's just going to stop it.
So there's a trip before
Yeah.
it hits the head,
Yep.
which is nice to know.
Yeah, so you shouldn't have any head crashes going in. but it's not going to know that your part
It's
is
too
too
far.
low.
But
Okay,
like
I get it.
when you load it too, if an operator just doesn't put that in, and it gets like
Right,
that.
and it gets like that when you go
it'll,
in.
It'll trigger it, so you know that there's. one
It's a
part
nice
is too
safety
high.
feature.
You're going to get an emergency
Yeah,
stop.
So you get. That's
Nice.
too high.
So that goes left to right.
Where are those sensors at?
Or
So
left
you
and
can
right.
see right here, and it comes across to this one here.
Okay, I see it.
The Mamaki doesn't have that.